The next great ideas and cultural shifts that are going to propel humanity forward are going to come from Africa, I bet ya. I know that a lot of you are going to say that the African nations are too war-torn and underdeveloped or unstable for something like that to happen, but you have to keep this in mind. That's exactly what the world thought of Europe during the medieval times, because Europe at that point was just ruled by these Germanic-seeming barbarians who barely bathed. Yet within a few centuries, Western Europe was able to innovate past all of the other empires and start taking over the entire world. It's not going to be the US or its neighbors, even though the US is kind of like the epicenter of what Western culture stands for. I don't think it's going to be South America either, due to the total devastation caused by Spain and Portugal for the past few hundred years, and now, of course, the tight vice of control that America has on the entire continent. As exploited as the African nations have been by the West, I think they are the least corrupted by them. Europe's not even in the discussion. They don't have any new ideas. They're old and calcified. I don't think it's going to be Asia due to the fact that they have modernized entirely according to the Western model, with maybe a few hints of their culture. The entire continent of Africa is the most resource-rich place on Earth. They have plenty of oil, they have more gold than anyone else, and a bunch of other precious metals that no other country has in droves. African nations have a growing and strong population base, especially young workers, which is something that most of the developed nations in the world are losing. Yet something that the African nations have, that I don't believe any other block of nations does have, is so much influence from other global powers, be it positive, like what's China's investment into Africa or Japan's investment, versus the Middle East, who heavily colonized and exploited East Africa, or Europe and America, who have heavily colonized and exploited the rest of Africa. Is this exposure, be it positive or negative, to all of the other global powers that will give Africa some new perspective on how the world should be run? When Europe invaded the Middle East to take over Israel again, they were forcibly exposed to Middle Eastern culture and how much more advanced it was than their own. They had different resources, they were more literate, they were more scientifically advanced, they were better than a lot of European cultures in every way. And this made some powers in Europe very curious as to what else was out there. So we have examples like Marco Polo going all the way to India and then China and bringing back things like gunpowder and silk, which pretty much blew the minds of Europe. Instead of rejecting these foreign resources, Europe chose to capitalize and exploit on them, and we know what happens. Now, I don't think this is going to happen in my lifetime or even my daughter's lifetime, but I think the spark is already there, and eventually it will catch fire. Remember, the invasion of an army can be resisted, but not that of an idea whose time has come.